right. Well, with me today on the Restaurant Recovery podcast is Mr. Dan Graziano, fitness professional turned restaurateur, who is the co-founder of MightyMeals. Dan, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you taking the time, and looking forward to talking to you a little further about the cool things you guys are doing at MightyMeals. Before we get into that, maybe give a little bit of background on you and kind of your fitness. You were a fitness professional, and now how we kind of evolved to MightyMeals.
Yeah. So it all kind of started. MightyMeals started at Gold's Gym in Fairfax, Virginia, where I used to train. So I was a trainer for probably the better part of a decade or so. And I actually used to work with one of our co-founders, Alex Lebanet. He was also a trainer. And he actually ended up training our third and final co-founder, Stefano. He was training his mother. So that's kind of how we all know each other. We all met at the gym. So
that's funny.
It's kind of funny how we just kind of linked up like that.
Yeah. So what was kind of the catalyst for you guys to come up with this idea of MightyMeals for food delivery? Was there something that you saw as a fitness professional with your clientele, or kind of, how did that come about?
Yeah, there was quite a few different things. Like the first one obviously was the fact that, you as a trainer, you have a lot of clients and not many actually see results at the end of the day because they're failing to take what they do in the gym and kind of do it on their own, like just be on their own. They can't handle anything without a trainer. They get very dependent upon us. And the big failure, I feel like, was always the nutrition aspect. They never knew what to eat, or they always made excuses why they don't have time to eat certain things, life gets in the way, et cetera. So it kind of came down to providing a convenient, healthy way to get meals on a regular basis so that they're taking what they did in the gym and not losing it as soon as they go home.
Yeah, kind of supporting it with the nutritional element.
Right. And I know from experience, I mean, I used to weigh like 260 back in the day, doing like powerlifting and stuff like that. I used to eat everything and anything. I was strong, but I was fat. And the only way I got better was like fixing my nutrition. So I'm a big believer in that nutrition is at least 80%, if not more, depending on the individual, of your actual results.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things you can kind of pull on with that, with the obesity rate in adults and the growing in children too. Some of it has to do with, that's a big issue. And a lot of it, especially in Northern Virginia, right? I'm local to you. Mm-hmm. There's very little margin to be able to take the time to cook some of the things. And maybe that's an excuse in calendaring, but we're busy in a high intense area.
Right.
So this type of service is definitely a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's definitely helped quite a few people. That's for sure. I mean, it's even helped myself.
Has it really?
Yes.
What's a good example of that?
Honestly, it's just having the food there. You don't have to cook anything. I mean, I literally just come home, open up a Mighty Meal, pop in a microwave for 2 minutes, and it's done. It saves time. You don't have to think about it. Excuse me. It's just very convenient. And I know what I'm getting is a high protein diet, and that's what works. It's high protein. So all our meals are high protein oriented. And I think that's the key for a lot of people. I mean, I've never had the issue of not getting enough protein in my diet, but a lot of people do. They have the issue. They don't have issue with it, but it's hard for them to realize how much they really need to eat to get results that they want.
Yeah, it's a great point, because I had a guest previously. We dug into kind of the macros aspect of things, and he was explaining, and one of his clients had to have the individual eat like 2 or 3 times more than they were, and to lose weight. And it was like counterintuitive, not just the quality, but the quantity of the food too.
Right.
Being a key pillar to wellness.
Absolutely.
So, what was it? You guys are chef prepared, but you're also locally sourced. So what was the idea behind that one?
Well, I mean, honestly, we started out trying to get as much as we could when we first started. When we were smaller. We worked with a couple of local farms. We looked like Polyface farms. We got like our eggs from, and we did some. I can't remember all the proteins that we got, but everything we source is local to this region. So whether it's North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, that's kind of like where we're sourcing everything from, just to kind of keep consistency in the product and the quality as well.
Yeah, kind of regional as well.
Yeah.
The cool thing with that is you kind of help with that farmer's market mentality of keeping it local.
Yeah, and it's hard to work with the farmers exactly because the farmers, I mean, they can't produce enough what we need now. Like we're so big now that we could never get that, nor would the consumer want to pay that extra cost.
Right.
It's significantly more. So we do spend a lot of time. Now I know Stefano, our owner I mentioned previously when we first started here, he works a lot of different distributors. We're always finding new ones. People reach out to us. So we're always going to get the best product at the end of the day. And quality is number one with us. The quality and the convenience factor are the two things we like to put the most emphasis on.
Yeah. So your mission, I mean, what are you trying to accomplish through MightyMeals really?
Hey, provide healthy meals, make them accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the gist of it. I mean, it's something that seems so simple, but so many people go without.
Yeah.
And if we can provide a service that provides healthy meals that you don't even have to think about, you just order anything on our menu is going to be, healthy. Some are obviously healthier than others, but overall it's going to be better than what you can get at a drive-through. And we make it convenient because we deliver right to your house.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point is that's where, kind of the rubber meets the road around convenience. And, like we were talking about earlier with Northern Virginia and many other big places, is the quickest thing to grab or the quickest to make is also often like the least healthy.
Right. Not the right choice always.
Yeah. Like grabbing some hot dogs is not the optimal dinner for your kids, but we all do it. I'm guilty of it, right? Chicken nuggets and French fries and what have you. But it's kind of nice to have that well-balanced diet. Like you said, the protein.
For sure. Yeah.
Is key.
Yeah. Protein that's not fried.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the key too.
Yeah. That's a huge element of it. So how long have you guys been operating?
We just celebrated our 5th year anniversary on Labor Day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we made it to the 5-year mark somehow.
That's great. So when you guys look at the quality, what is it that you guys are looking for when it comes to putting together the meals, and maybe that's something for your chef to answer?
Yeah, no, we should have had him on for that part. No, but I mean, it comes down to quality. Like, what obviously we can make anything taste good. A decent chef can make things taste good and cover up quality at times. I mean, you see that a lot at restaurants, obviously. I mean, look at like a lot of like Chinese cuisine, like the takeout and stuff like that. Right. Like low quality food, but hey, it tastes great. Love it. Who doesn't like good Chinese takeout, Right. But it's not exactly the healthiest for you. So it's all in the way you prepare it. So I also like to think it's not just with the ingredients that you source. It's also creative ways to get the same flavors that you would, like, I'll use the Chinese takeout again. We have one of my favorite dishes on our menu is the sweet chili chicken soba.
Okay.
And it's amazing. It's kind of like a chicken lo mein type kind of dish, but it's got, sweet chilies in it. It's got a little spice to it, but it's also sweet. But we use healthier ingredients in that. We don't fry the noodles, there's no oil in it. So there's little things you can do to clean up your diet. And I think a lot of people miss that when they cook for themselves at home. They just, follow a recipe verbatim, but a lot of recipes are made by chefs that want food to taste good, not too worried about the health element from it.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, is that, you get to actually taste what the food tastes like rather than any kind of takeout where it's over indexed with sodium and it tastes good and it kind of, hit your taste buds well for a little bit, but you end up like kind of deadening your taste buds to understanding what some of this nutritious food tastes like. And it tastes pretty dang good when you taste it in the raw, so to speak.
Yeah. You can always tell, like when we first started, obviously we had a little more connection with our customers, like in terms of me personally and like our founders, because we were so small, we get a lot of feedback. And a lot of times people, you can always tell people that we're eating worse than the normal person. They'd say, oh, that's kind of bland. And we're just like, look at you like, what are you talking about, bland? It's like, you're just not used to having things not heavily salted or tons of grease and oil. And eventually, it changes at some point. Your taste buds do, kind of wake back up and realize, oh, that's salty. I can't believe I was eating like that much. Or that's very oily. And, you start getting a different feel for your food when you start eating clean again.
So there's so many different diets out there, right? And, I've had other folks talk about that. Yeah, too many options, right? At the end of the day, it's like, to me, my penny and a half is a well-balanced diet, whatever that looks like. But you need to have a little bit of everything in there. But can you guys adjust and cater to some of those folks out there that are,
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. There's tons of like, keto's a huge one. Like, love the keto diet. However, if you can't make that kind of food for meal prep. A lot of the fats that go in there, it's a very high fat diet with low protein and zero carbs. So we kind of like we like to meet people in the middle in terms of like everything that we do in terms of like diets. Okay. So we may not have a keto, but we have like a keto friendly or like a very low carb menu. And actually, we got that on our menu. You can actually, when you go on the website, you can click, you can scroll like how many carbs you want, like what's the max amount of carbs you want. And it kind of takes away all those meals that are too high in carbs, what you want to eat. So you can do like a low carb options. So, we might not be able to have like, keto per se, but it's very low carb. So like a very like a popular dish we have is lemon pepper chicken thighs with Brussels and bacon. So, it's a higher fat meal because we're using thighs. They're skinless, but there's still a little more fat in that. And then we use bacon, chopped bacon, and the Brussels sprouts. Okay. But there's no carbs in it. But there's 6 ounces of protein that you get, and then you're getting your fibrous carbs from the Brussels sprouts. So, that's kind of where we meet you halfway. Like, we're not going to do keto. We're not going to say it's keto because we know we're educated enough to know, unlike some other companies, that, you need 60 to 70% of your macros coming from fat. And that's pretty much impossible to do in a meal prep world, just because the way it sits, it gets gelatinous when you refrigerate it. People would look at it like, what the hell is this? This is disgusting. You don't even eat it, So, right. We have to take that into consideration as well. Like, what's it going to look like to the consumer? So there's a lot of thought process that goes into it that Stefano and Alex and even our executive chef, Pablo, go into in creating these menu items where some things may make sense if you were to make it at home and eat it immediately. But there's also a difference when this food has to look and taste a certain way, 3, 4, 5 days later.
Right.
So a lot of it, there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's called science, but there's a lot of thought that goes into the process of creating a menu item. It's not just, oh, throw that in there, oh, perfect, we're done. Like, it doesn't work like that,
Right.
So,
and that seems a little different than what, the service you're providing has grown quite a bit over the last 5-7 years, maybe 10 years now. And
I know a new market, like there's not even like a classification tax wise that recognizes us. Like, we're not a restaurant. We're not a caterer. There's nothing like, there's no in between. We're kind of just like floating between some gray areas here.
At least they're letting you operate. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that matters.
I did notice that you were talking about the macro split, and that's something that I'm learning myself on breaking that down, but that you had like a scale that you can adjust based on your personal diet, which I think is a great tool on the site. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And you can also separate it by like different proteins. So if you're a pescatarian, you can get just file out get the red meats and the chicken and all that kind of stuff out. We have like vegan friendly or vegetarian, plant forward stuff. So I think
can you do gluten free?
Yes, that's actually one of the filters on there. You just hit gluten free button and all the gluten free menu items pop up. So
awesome.
Try to make life easier for people as we grow and the menu grows. We have over 100 items, so it's kind of hard to like it. Even when I order, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I gotta like scroll down here, and now we have to filter and then just click a button. It kind of filters out, leaves you with like, 15 to 20 different menu items that fit your criteria.
Yeah, that's really big because I know in our house, we're gluten free, and then we have food allergies.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys accommodate, or can you, or you just have to just explain?
We have icons on the website. So say gluten free is like your main one you want to search first. So gluten free, all the other crap is filtered out. Then you can go through and look on the menu. You got little icons that will say, hey, this contains, dairy or peanuts, stuff of that nature. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to kind of figure out.
Yeah.
You don't have to read every single ingredient on there.
Right. So where are you guys looking to take this? Are you trying to stay in the DC metro area? Are you looking to expand that further?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because today we just started this past weekend, we just started our first weekend delivering up to Indianapolis area.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah. So we've been growing just like pretty much, obviously DC, Northern Virginia. We go down to I think we go to Stafford actually now. I think Stafford County is the south border, and then points west, Route 15, Leesburg. and then we go out to I think Clarksburg, out west in Maryland.
Okay.
But then all inside the Beltway for sure. So this is our first outside the Beltway Maryland expansion. And then we'd like to hit up Baltimore area, and then I think start doing some shipping regionally is the goal, I think, for next year. Looking to upgrade a facility, get our systems in place better, get a bigger working facility, more organization, custom build a kitchen that fits our model and where we want to take this business. So I think, like I said, we'll start Annapolis now, Baltimore, and then we'll look to do some regional shipping. And then hopefully when we get our, if we're blessed enough to get this new kitchen we want to build and stuff like that, we can start doing nationwide shipping as well at some point.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so that'd be good. But I think when the big thing was to stay local, a lot of companies, there was a big company last year. They were about 3 years ahead of us. They got a big influx of investor money, like $30 million. And they went from just doing the Northeast, like Boston, New York area. They try to go nationwide like the next month. And
wow.
They got that 30 mil. And then within a year, it was under a year, way under a year, they went out of business.
Whoa.
So, really? That's one thing I've learned. And then we have other competitors in this area. They're going to remain nameless, but
sure.
I see them, what they're doing, and their model is just to keep growing, every metropolitan region in the country. And you just know that you can't keep up with the quality standards that you had when you were just in DC or just, say 2 or 3 regions. Like you're trying to expand to like 8 a year. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't care how much money you have. It's not going to offset the customer service or the quality issues that are going to arise from all that. Like you can't scale too quick. And luckily we picked a great area to start this business in that's always growing. It's very transient, but you still have people that have been here their entire lives too. So I think we have a unique demographic in this area where you have your base of people that have lived here their whole lives. But then you also have, because of, government contractors, government jobs, you're always going to get new cycles of people every 2 to 6 years.
Right.
That's potentially new customers. And then because there's so much area that's been left to expand, like Loudoun County, for example, you have big companies like Amazon and Google coming in here. They're going to bring, tens of thousands of jobs.
Exactly.
And for us, that's just new customers for us.
Yeah.
So there's no rush to get out of this area or to expand outside of this area. We don't need to. Our business keeps growing just based on numbers. So I feel like we got to stay smart and stay patient and focus on how we got to being around for 5 years in the first place. If you want to have 5 more years of success, then you got to continue doing what's made you successful to this point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it boils down to your vision and goals, right? And it sounds like you guys really want to do the smart, steady growth of just holding to your convictions of producing that quality, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're still growing fast too. I mean, don't make any mistake about it. We're not holding ourselves back. I mean, year over year, we're doing at least 50% more than the previous. So, that's significant growth in any business. And it hasn't slowed down, even though people said, "Hey, don't expect that every year." Well, it's happened every year. It's going to keep happening every year.
Yeah, I just think there's so many things that it's an untapped market, and as things continue to improve, and heck, I would think even in the last 6 to 9 months have probably improved things for services like yourself to a certain degree.
Fortunately, we've grown 20-25% during COVID. And thankfully we've been able to grow while many others haven't been able to do anything. So like we're incredibly thankful for all that and that support. As we try to give back as much as we can too, we're doing a lot of the meal donations to like first responders. We delivered, we partnered up with Hearts of Empowerment locally here in DC, and we've been delivering meals to hospitals on a weekly basis, sometimes 2 in a weekend, donating 200, 300, 400 meals a day per location during COVID. So it's good to give back when you're crushing it. You always got to find ways to kind of pay it forward. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
we're in a unique and really good position, and we're very thankful for that for sure.
Yeah, especially to the business you're in, right? I mean, it's such a core tenet to livelihood, to wellness.
Right.
And, there's all kinds of statistics before BC, before COVID, that, nutrition is such a key element to sustaining your overall health, your immune system.
I hope it's woken people up a little bit. I hope it has.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has yet. I mean, time will tell, but I hope people are realizing the healthier people are recovering a lot faster.
Yeah.
And the death rate significantly lower in people that don't have pre-existing conditions.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the unfortunate reality, but it's numbers that are important to know. It was like 2.6, almost 3 times the metabolic dysfunction of 3 different comorbidities.
Mm-hmm.
Those who had either severe or unfortunately passed on from it. And
right,
so, yeah, it's a key element to sustaining us. So
nutrition should not be overlooked after all this. If it is, I mean, shame on you,
Yeah. 100%. So, Dan, I appreciate what you guys are doing and being able to deliver the quality foods as a gluten-free family. I appreciate that too. And also just being local too. I'm out in the Gainesville area. So definitely need to use your services soon.
Yeah. After we get off this, we'll get you set up nicely.
All right. Sounds good. So before we finish things out, I tend to like to close it out with a few personal questions. So
Sure.
What are you reading right now?
Honestly, unless I'm super interested in the subject, I try to stay away from reading because my mind just starts wandering off to nothing, or it makes me tired. So I usually try to default that to like podcasts and stuff like that, or listening to people speak, watching people speak, like YouTube stuff, for subjects I'm interested in, because I'm very specific in what I want to learn and what interests me.
I'm with you a little bit. I've always I'm 100% with you. I do Audible a lot.
Yeah, that's great. That's been great for me. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
So you mentioned podcasts. So what are you listening to on podcasts? I
mean, everybody listens to Joe Rogan. Man, that's my favorite. That's my go-to guy. Lex Friedman, he's been a guest on Rogan quite a few times. Rhonda Patrick, she's huge in nutrition. Sean Baker, he's another big nutrition guy. He's the carnivore diet guy. I love listening to his stuff. So yeah, that's mostly what I listen to.
Yeah.
I just love the guests that are on there. You get a wide variety of things. And of course, got some like sports podcasts I listen to on a regular basis now that football season's here. So
yeah. Cool. So what is your go-to rest and recovery method?
Honestly, I've been focusing more on the mental rest and recovery practice as opposed to physical. I know most people probably think of it like as a physical thing you're talking about, but for me, it's mostly mental, and especially like for the better part of this year with everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
I've been a big believer for quite a few years in like guided meditation, self-hypnosis, breathing exercises. I just recently got into frequency healing stuff. I mean, I'm not sure like how much it actually does. I'm not into like hocus pocus kind of like stuff, but I mean, that kind of stuff I try. And for me, if it works for me, if it works, I'm not going to question what it's supposed to do or why people do it. For me, I'm saying, hey, if I try it and it works, I'm going to keep doing it,
Yep. 100%. Yeah. I mean, you just got to keep trying things and like you said, if it works for you, then stick with it.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, in terms of like other stuff for recovery, I would consider your nutrition as part of like recovery more than anything. So I'm really big into, like, after I listened to, mention Rhonda Patrick, she got on the Rogan podcast at the beginning of COVID, was talking about supplementation. And I'm not really big into supplements, but after listening to her speak, there are a few that I listened to what she had to say about certain supplements, and I got on board, and I've been taking them religiously every day, like vitamin B, D, K, DHA.
Yeah.
And then crossing over to like health and then also like the mental aspects, I got into Kratom, which I love as well. It's really helped me with like mental acuity, my focus, energy.
What's that?
Kratom. It's a all natural herb. It's like out of Indonesia. But I mean, they sell it at like they sell like 7-Eleven at the checkout. Don't get that stuff. This stuff comes pure powder form. You just put some in a shaker cup, and I mean, it tastes like complete ass, but it works, and it I like it. I enjoy. Again, I don't know if people think this stuff is like hocus pocus stuff, but for me, it works. I'm gonna continue to do it. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. 100%. Yeah, no, that's a new herb to me. I've been using a few things at night, some herbal teas, some turmeric and ashwagandha.
Yeah.
To
It's
kind of
been around
reduce.
forever. It works, you know?
Yeah.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, Dan, again, man, thanks for the time, and look forward to seeing where you and the team take MightyMeals.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah.